Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's Beth. It's Dezi. We're in the house for our first episode of Girlfriends in Football as we look ahead to the 2024 NFL football season. Beth, how you doing, babe? You ready? You ready for the season?
I am ready for the season. I can't believe that the summer went as fast as it did. There were moments where I needed football and missed it, but you know what? I'm so glad that it's back, and I cannot wait to get this season rolling.
Yes. We need that time off, just like the football players need that time off. We're busy moms. For those of you who don't know us, I'm Dezi, a physician assistant. Beth is a physical therapist. We work, we raise kids, we drink, and we enjoy football. So we needed time off just to hang with our family and enjoy that time. And now it's back to the opening season of the 2024 season. And Beth is a diehard Buffalo Bills fan.
Bills.
And I'm a diehard Niners fan. And the crazy actually play together this year in Buffalo in November.
No, December. It's not November. It's December. Were you drinking when we had this conversation? Because you did something that I wasn't sure I was going to agree to.
Probably. I have ski outfits and like thermals and stuff. Even though I live in Florida, I do now have those items to where I felt a little bit more confident about being able to say yes to the tickets.
You should bring them. You should bring them.
All right, that's coming.
I may have to borrow some of yours because I don't have any of that anymore because I live in Atlanta. So
well,
maybe it's going to be a little bit harder for me than it is for you, but
no.
So for y'all, Dezi sent me a text and said, "We've got to go to this game. Will you come with me?" And I replied to her because I love the Bills and I will go watch the Bills. But her response to me, I said, "Listen, you want to go to Buffalo in December and watch a night game in Buffalo in December without any sun?" And she was like, "Yeah, let's do it." I was like, the amount of alcohol that we're going to have to consume, stay warm. One of us, you know what? I need to be going to physical therapy for my back because I'm going to need it because we're going to jump through tables in order to survive.
Buffalo, we have alcohol and matches. I think that's all you need in Buffalo.
It'll be great. It should be fun. Stay tuned for that fiasco.
Yeah, hopefully the video is much better than our video in Miami because that was a disaster. The lighting sucked. We couldn't hear it. You couldn't hear us. And so we're going to be – I'll bring a flashlight at least this time.
We'll have better plans. Miami was rushed. I understand, but we'll be better prepared for this one.
Yeah. That was so much fun, though. All right, so let's get to it. Give me the rundown on your precious Buffalo Bills. How's the off season? How's the team looking? What are we excited about? What are we worried about heading into the 2024 season?
I'm not worried about anything.
Oh, okay.
So lots of good things going on with the Bills right now. Josh Allen is looking super smooth, super comfortable. He's got his new wide receiver, Keon Coleman, who's going to just do amazing things. He's from FSU, so I wish we had Sherry on here today to kind of give me a little bit more background because, you know, I don't follow college at all. So everything that we've seen of him, he's just been a doll and super fun to listen to. And I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. We've got Cole Bishop coming in for safety. We've got all kinds of just good people right now. The vibe out there. I was listening to a bunch of stuff about preseason training camp, and everybody's just been saying the vibe has been super chill. Good spirits. Everybody's gelling really well. I dare say it sounds like things are much more smooth without Stephon Diggs, which as much as I appreciated his time on the field, I think it was time for him to go. So it seems like there's a little weight lifted off the team and they're a little bit more lighter and more carefree this season. And it sounds like Josh Allen is really taking, as he should. He's a veteran quarterback at this point, right? So at this time, he's been really kind of taking control and really feeling light and airy. So it's fun to watch right now. Their preseason practices, things that they've been posting, they've been a good crew to watch.
And healthy. You guys are getting your health back. You were so banged up last season. So,
Yes, Matt Milano is back, except he just went out practice yesterday or a couple days ago. He just went out again with a shoulder injury. But everybody is, Miller is back. Von Miller even said last year he shouldn't have played at all. He feels like he's playing football again. And he's really looking forward to a season of playing football, not rehabbing. So I'm hoping that, some of these vets that we have sitting on the sideline last year will come in and really make a big difference for us.
That's awesome. Well, I wish I could say the same in 49erville. To be honest, we've never recovered from the Super Bowl. We tried to have fun with Brock Purdy's wedding and Christian McCaffrey's wedding and all the things that came with that. But what happened? We thought, oh, we have a quarterback. We are not going to have drama in the offseason. Stabbed through the heart. We're having nothing but drama with the Brandon Ayuk situation. So our wide receiver, our true wide receiver one, well, I guess I shouldn't say true wide receiver one. He's our true wide receiver. Our wide receiver one is Devo, obviously. But he's a true slot receiver, I should say. Brandon Ayuk is a phenomenal player. He wants big money. It's not that I don't think he deserves it. It's just tough on a team where you have a bunch of superstars and everybody's, trying to get paid. And next year we're looking at a contract that we have to pay to our quarterback. So we are definitely in a situation that is financially tight. And the standoff has been crazy. Every day it's like, oh, they're going to make an announcement soon. Oh, nope, he's going to Pittsburgh. Oh, nope, he's going to, Chicago's talking about it, or, all these other teams. And it seems like now Pittsburgh is the team that we're really trying to figure out if there's going to be a deal with. But it has been emotionally draining. And then you layer on our first round draft pick was Ricky Pearsall, who is a wide receiver from the University of Florida. He's been banged up. So not just once, but twice, shoulders. Kid never had an injury in college, comes to the 49ers, dings his shoulder, tries to come back, dings the shoulder again. I don't really know. I don't really know what this looks like. Now we have a wide receiver on contract issues out, and our number one drafted wide receiver is banged up. Don't love that. We still have Dre Greenlaw, which don't even know that he'll be back this season. At least he's not. He's going to miss at least half the season, but I'm guessing he's probably going to miss almost all of it, if not all of it, because of tearing his Achilles in the Super Bowl. We have Christian McCaffrey with a calf strain. We have Kalia Davis now has knee surgery that he has to undergo. So there's our defensive lineman. I mean, we just have so many injuries. Oh, and Ambry Thomas just fractured his forearm. And so
I didn't hear that one.
That happened during the preseason game, the first preseason game last weekend.
Oh, gotcha.
The stress is real, sis. It's tense. I'm feeling tense. Oh, and my favorite player, the gorilla, the silverback, Mr. Trent Williams, that our offense runs through and behind, is out on contract issues too. So he has not been at practice.
They'll need to get some money flowing or something.
Listen, I'm about to start a GoFundMe.
So what do you think? Do you even want Ayuk after all of this? Does he, because where does he just wants money right at this point, right? He's not necessarily, does he care about the team? What is he looking for?
Okay, so here's the thing. So I keep joking. My big joke is Mama Ayuk is a diehard 49er. She is a member of the faithful long before Brandon Ayuk joined the team. So I'm like, don't tell me anything. Get me Mama Ayuk. Let me talk to my girl and let me see what's going down. Because I'm not believing nothing until Mama Ayuk says it's going to happen. So that's been my joke through this whole thing. But truly, I think it's just business, and I can't blame Brandon Ayuk. He's been a fantastic player for our team up until this point. Negotiations suck. He is an infant, air quote infant, in terms of like, he's still a young player. So young players, I'm sure, looking back. Yeah, and 8 years down the road, he may look back and be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have played it this way. Maybe I shouldn't have done so much on social media. Maybe not. I don't know. It just, for him, it's tough. He's not the first, like, our offense does not use him the way another team would utilize him, right? So I can't fault him for trying to get that money. And I'm not going to make judgment. I'm not part of these negotiation trades. I think he's a good kid. He's not like being an Antonio Brown, where I think he's just,
right.
You question his ethics and things like that. So no, to answer your question, no, I would be just fine if the announcement was made in the next 24 hours, please. Where they say,
it tells you what to do next, right? Like it gives the rest of your team and coaching an opportunity to go, what's our next move, right? Because I feel like they just put out a new contract offer to him as well, right? So they're both still negotiations. I think it's the Steelers and him for the most part, Steelers and the 49ers. So why they can't make offers anywhere else or look at picking anybody else up until this is finalized one way or another. So,
yes. And I'm here with Technics Chick. Technics Chick says, Mama McCaffrey needs to get Mama Ayuk on her Your Mom podcast and spill the secrets. If that ain't the truth, can we make this happen? This needs to happen, stat. Yeah, we need moms will put it
what
out
is
there.
Your Mom podcast? Because that sounds amazing. That's like, I want to talk to other players' moms. Can we make that happen? If anyone is listening and we can talk to their mom, that would be fabulous. I want to know all the inside secrets. I've got a sixth grader who's in his second year of playing tackle football. I want all the mom football secrets you can give me. Let's make it happen.
It's funny. When we were thinking about names for the podcast, one of the names I came up with was Mother Football. I wanted to name it Mother Football, but somebody already took it, and I don't think it was something that was available for me to utilize. So here we are, girlfriends in football. So thanks for joining us. We're going to get into some other stuff here. So if you have, I don't know, did you watch Receiver on Netflix?
I don't have Netflix right now, so
sis,
I
gotta
need
give you the password.
No, so we used to have it, and then they locked everything down, and now my mother-in-law's password doesn't work anymore at our house. So we do not have Netflix. We have all of the other streaming services available. Maybe I just need to go next door and watch it.
Got it.
Is it worth watching? Is it worth reinstituting? Because here's the deal. My children are begging me left and right for Netflix.
So I can't speak to all of Netflix, but I know that you watched Quarterback last summer, mm-hmm. and Quarterback was phenomenal. I really loved Quarterback. I loved Receiver because two of my favorite football players of all time are on there. So we have George Kittle and we had Deebo Samuel on there, and they were amazing. I already love George. Like, already, who doesn't love George Kittle? Like, if you don't love George Kittle, we can't be friends. But for Deebo, he was a little bit more quiet, and so I wasn't sure what to expect. But you know what? Like, his baby Deebo is so cute with his little baby dimples, so cute. But learning a little bit more and seeing a little bit about him, him from a one-on-one standpoint was really interesting. And then learning more about players like Amon-Ra St. Brown and, even Steelers, Adams. Can't think of his first name. Adams is the last name. The Steelers, or not from the Steelers, from the Raiders. I see his face. Anyway, him. So it was a good series. I think I don't know that I enjoyed it as much as I loved Quarterback, but I definitely Devontae Adams. Thank you, Technique. I don't know.
You need to hang out around more, Technics Chick. You are super helpful.
I know, right? But I'll tell you what was cool was from an injury standpoint, because I reported so much on the injuries with the 49ers, watching Deebo go through, and there were some things with his injuries where I had actually reported on some of the things that he endured. It was really fascinating to learn, like, oh, well, and in particular, not just Deebo's injury, but Jefferson with the Vikings. So I didn't pay attention to the Vikings a whole lot. Like, I did, of course, to some degree. I love Kirk Cousins, right, and I love the coach and all that, but I didn't know this guy very much. So it was interesting learning more about him. And I actually really, really like him. I think he's an incredible human. And then I love him as a player, but he's never been injured before. And then he had some injuries. I think he had a hamstring injury, but then he actually had a pulmonary contusion where he got tackled and you could see where he was like tachypnic. And then he went on the sideline and he coughed up blood. And then they take him into the tent. And as soon as I saw that the blood, this is things that you see through this lens that you don't see on the sidelines. And so as soon as I was like, oh, he's coughing up blood, that's a pulmonary contusion. He's got to get to the hospital. Did he did his lung separate and he's got like a pneumothorax, which is where like your lung is like a balloon. And so it peels away from the side that tacks it out open and then it collapses. So you can get a pneumothorax with an injury like that. And I think the thing that I took away from the whole series is like learning how, that it's a hard hitting sport, but this is literally trauma level injuries, like car accidents, every week. And so like, I really don't want to hear people now ever talk about athletes where they're like, oh, he's a chump, he's a baby, he didn't get back out there, he didn't do that, because like you didn't see blood. Like this guy, poor Jefferson, like the fans were roasting him. And it was like, he coughed up blood on the sideline.
Right.
So,
and in their mind, it's, oh, he bit his tongue or he bit the inside of his mouth or, they don't think of blood coming from his lungs or blood coming from other parts of his body that are not just like a cut.
Yeah. Yep. And so she must have watched it too. So Technic Chick said, I think it was Amin-Ra who had his oblique torn from the bone too. Yes, that was another injury that was highlighted in there. So this is like really, really high level injuries. Even Debo's injury. Like I remember when it happened and, we were talking about how it was a fracture of the scapula. And I'm like, I think I've seen one, maybe two in my entire career. And they were like someone fell from a 3rd-story apartment, balcony onto their back.
And landed on a rock right on. But it's not like, it's real hard to fracture your scapula. It's not really a bone that's in a position to do that.
Right. So I was kind of like, is it though? Is it that and something else? And then I was like, when it finally came out that it really was, I was like shocked. So it really was interesting to me as a medical provider to see those injuries on the sidelines and see what it was actually like on the sidelines versus just watching it through a camera lens on TV on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, I think and what's great is I think those things need to be more broadcast more widely and more understood by the average person watching football. And then maybe we wouldn't have people fighting so much about the new kickoff rules and the new tackle rules and all of those other things that are the guardian caps, all of those things that we're putting in as safety measures because it is such a dangerous sport and we're trying to get these people to play longer and stay healthy longer. So maybe if people watched Receiver, they would understand why these things are happening.
Absolutely. So, okay. So the big draft happened. Number one draft out. The number one guy was Caleb Williams, drafted to Chicago Bears. The Bears. Justin Fields is out. He got shifted over to Pittsburgh, where Russell Wilson is. But Chicago Bears have locked down the Hard Knocks. They're the new team that are going to be followed by Hard Knocks with Caleb Williams. So are we excited about this? What's our opinion on this?
I mean, as badly as we did against Chicago during preseason this week, I don't know how I can answer that. Honestly, I think it'll be fun to see, right? Like, especially with a new quarterback, seeing a team kind of grow with that new energy, I think might be fun to watch.
That's so much pressure.
Well, I mean, I feel like though athletes now grow up in that, right? I mean, they're all making YouTube reels. They're all making Instagram feeds. They're all already highly involved in the entertainment portion of their sport. They're learning how to brand and market themselves. So, I mean, I don't know.
When I think about him, though, the one thing that I remember from last year, his senior year, in college was the game where they lost. And it was like the last game because that was it. They were done. They weren't going into the big game. Or I don't watch college, guys. Sorry, I just know that I don't.
I was going to say, you're telling me a news story, so go ahead.
I don't know if they were in the playoffs and this happened, or if it was just their season didn't. They needed a win to get into the playoffs. I can't remember what that scenario was, but I remember the game was over. He was devastated. He jumped up into the stands, or he was in the stands holding his mom. And he's crying, and his mom took the sign that she was holding and covered his face so that the media couldn't like see it and get in it. And I just thought that was such a tender moment, and I love that so much. But social media totally like just roasted this guy. So I'm interested to see if he is someone that rises from the concrete and can handle that, or if this is going to be just harder. I mean, the Chicago Bears have had a struggle trying to find their quarterback. They thought they had it in Justin Fields, and now they bring in Caleb Williams. And I just don't know, is this the right move for their organization? They've also had transitions in their front office and things like that. So I don't know if this is a good move for the Bears. I definitely think that there's going to be high viewership because people are curious about Caleb Williams. He is someone that everybody talks about.
I don't know how I feel about quarterbacks coming right out of college to becoming starter quarterback. I know we've had some great successes with that, and they're out there, right? Who was it last year? God, I have no brains. Who's the quarterback?
The Texas.
Tampa Bay.
The Texas.
Or Texas.
Yeah, Texas, Houston. The Houston Texans.
But I feel like these guys need like a year or two of mentorship, right? Under a quarterback who knows what they're doing, who has done it in the past, who can kind of help walk them through some of that stuff, because it is a completely different game, right? Like we are not looking at the same level of play that we see in college. So I think it'll be interesting if he can step up the way he needs to step up. Same with who came back? Stetson Bennett? Stetson Bennett came back. He's back this season, right? Yeah. Whatever was going on with him prior, he clearly could not handle NFL level stress from whatever angle that came from, right? We don't know the inner workings of why he took the year off, but he needed to take that year off, and he came back and he looks great. Like his preseason game looked pretty good. So yeah. I'm wondering if that transition is really without having a little bit more guidance and mentorship is the right move for some teams. So we'll see.
Yeah. Not everybody's Brock Purdy. Just kidding. CJ Stroud is who you were thinking about. Houston, Texas.
CJ, thank you. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not fully into football yet. I'll get there.
Yeah. Speaking of rookie quarterbacks, JJ McCarthy, heartbreaker for the Vikings fans. So the Vikings trade Kirk Cousins to Atlanta, which Atlanta also drafted a quarterback. That was like the most bizarre thing in the draft, I think.
We're just trying to cover our bases. Atlanta. We don't have much else, so let's see what happens.
I did like Vikings picking up JJ McCarthy. I did like that, but JJ McCarthy is now out for the season, knee injury. I thought it was just a meniscal tear, but I wonder now if there's maybe something more going on that they maybe found. Because I would think with just a meniscal tear, he could have been back at some point during the season. What do you think? You're the physical therapist in rehab terms, even if it was repaired versus just being trimmed.
So a trim he'd be back fairly quickly, 4 to 6 weeks thereabouts, with some rehab. But if it's a more severe full tear or anything like that, and they have to do a full reconstruction and go in, he would absolutely be out for the season. Now, when you look at it from a full repair standpoint versus just trimming or any of that nature, at the end of the day, going in and doing it all right now is probably a good idea, right? He's young, he's fresh. They are looking at him long-term, right? They want him for the next 5-10 years, right? They want to capitalize on him as a quarterback. So if you invest in him now and fix it right the first time, maybe you don't have to go back in for more trimming or for a more severe injury down the road. So I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, for those who are listening, so there's a difference. So depending on the type of, so your meniscus is the spongy disc-like shaped shock absorbers in your knee. And there's different types of tears. The smaller tears, sometimes you can just go in and kind of shave it down so that it's not, when you get a tear, it sometimes can flip and get stuck, and then your knee can cause.
Think of like a hangnail. Like a hangnail, you can kind of like trim the edge of it off, or just kind of shave off the top so that it doesn't irritate when you move.
Yeah. So you can get to where, like, that's a beautiful analogy, by the way. I'm totally going to use that moving forward. So you can trim it down, but there's some that are just thicker, and if you catch them early enough, you can actually repair them. This is, oh gosh, I'm going to say it's fairly new, because when I started my career, this was not heard of. So maybe 15 years now, 10 years now, where they've started to do repairs where they can actually stitch it down. And so that's what Beth's talking about in terms of, if it were just shaved down 6 weeks-ish, plus or minus, he could maybe come back. But a repair where they stitch it back up, you really have to let that heal. And that's what you're saying would take out the whole season. So you wouldn't come back if it's just a repair. And Technics Chic looked it up, and it says it's meniscal tear and full repair for McCarthy. So, okay, so that's it. And a heartbreaker for the
Vikings, especially after they had the issues with Kirk Cousins last year. It just seems like every time they turn around, something else kind of knocks them in the butt, So,
and that's Justin Jefferson, who I actually fell in love with, the wide receiver I fell in love with.
And him too.
I know. So I think that's, the big things that we're going to chat about. Pittsburgh obviously has a quarterback situation with Russell Wilson versus Justin Fields. When it happened, I think in my mind, I was like, hey, great call. You'll start with Russell Wilson, and then Justin Fields can, work behind the scenes and kind of learn from a veteran and get better and be good for the following year. But I question, is Russell Wilson the right kind of mentor for a young Justin Fields? And I'm not sure. The jury's out on that. I don't know enough about, enough about Russell Wilson to start with, because I'm a 49er fan, and he used to be with the Seahawks.
Seahawks, yeah. That's when I saw that trade, I was like, I can't imagine him in any other uniform. And I know he's been in other, but it's just like, that's who he is in my mind. So,
yeah. So we'll see what that looks like. But this is also where I'm like, part of the trade negotiations with the 49ers and then Pittsburgh is, okay, we will take, they'll take Brandon Ayuk. They're going to give Ayuk the money that he wants. We obviously want something in return. And they're talking about, I think it's a second pick, second round pick, and possible third. Well, I think
that's why nothing's happened, is because the Steelers are like, I don't know if he's worth all of that. and I think all, but
right. But to me, there's also talks about, like, we need somebody in return, like a Ricky Pearsall's injured. We don't have a solid slot guy to replace Brandon Ayuk. But who are you going to give us? I don't want Pickens. I don't want, keep that over there.
You don't really want anybody. You don't want anybody. You don't want that. You don't want that.
I don't want none of that. So I'm going to stay hopeful that he remains a 49er. But I'm going to tell you, my emotions, have you seen that like crazy cat cartoon with like the big eyes that are like popping out and the hair is like fried? Looks like he got electrocuted. That's literally what I feel like on a day-to-day basis being a 49er fan right now.
It's exhausting listening to that. I mean, it is exhausting every day hearing what the next update is. And it's like, somebody just make a decision.
That's exactly where I am. Exactly.
I want to hear about somebody else, anybody else.
I know, 100%. And you know what? Speaking of you want to hear about anybody else, this is probably not somebody you want to hear about, but our boy is coming back. The Jets quarterback, QB1, is back. Aaron Rodgers. We'll see what that looks like, because I saw a video maybe 3 weeks ago of him, kind of backpedaling a bit, looking it's a little sus.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I don't know. We'll see what that shakes out to be. But guys, I'm excited. It's the 2024 season. It is upon us. We've got a second round of preseason games coming up this weekend. And I think we're going to be back here Wednesday with another podcast. We're going to talk about our predictions for the season. And Beth is going to talk about a little something she might start.
Not until the first week. We got to wait till the first week.
No,
there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more research we got to get going first. But yeah, we got something up our sleeve for this season. I think it'll be fun.
It's going to be fun. Yes. All right, guys. Well, thanks to those of us who have joined us, and hopefully we'll be back next week with news of Brandon Ayuk signing his contract. That's what I'm staying hopeful for.
To anybody really at this point.
But hey, football's back, everybody. So
yay.
I'm glad you joined us tonight, and we'll see you next week. See ya.
Bye.